Hello and welcome back to Planning Your Picture Book with Julia Mills. I am excited to work on part 2 of your dummy this week. So hopefully you've put in a lot of work since the last time I saw you. And you've taken something like this and turned each one of these into a page for your dummy. So when we're going to compile the dummy, you don't want to cut the pages individually. You want to have 2 pages as a spread because that's going to make it easier to glue them together. And you want to keep this in front of you as sort of your roadmap. I really rely on this paper a lot, so I glue things in the right spot. So what you're going to be doing is taking just your standard glue stick and gluing your pages together to form a book. Before you do that, you want to set the type into your book. I use Photoshop, and I'm going to show you a before and after. So here is the original sketch that I created for the first spread, and then I scan that into my computer. Using Photoshop, I put in the blocks of text. And this book has a little more text than I'm used to putting into books. So I actually had to change the layout a little bit, and I do that in Photoshop. But you could also do that literally with just paper and tape, covering up an area, copying it, and fixing it a little bit. A lot of times I'll set the type in and then go in with a pencil afterwards on that printout and just tweak things if I need to. So this is actually the one that has the type set in, and it is ready for the dummy. And this is my first spread that has images. But if you will notice, before that comes the copyright and title page. So I actually want to start with that. And I want you to remember that this is real estate for your book. You don't get a lot of space in a book, so if you have real estate, you want to use it. So consider bringing your storytelling into the title page. You'll still need to leave room for the title, for your name, for copyright stuff and all that stuff that goes inside a book. But you can put part of your image in here. So I considered I was going to have my little dog and my princess. I was going to have them start on this page so that when I get to the next page, they're sitting down and ready to go to start my story. Okay, so I'm going to start with this page. Here's my title page. I'm going to fold it in half. I've cut all these to the same size. They're 5.5 by 5.5 inch squares. And so here's title page, here's acknowledgments and all that stuff. And then I'm going to take spread number 1. I'm going to fold that in half. And we're going to do like kindergarten here and glue with our glue stick. So I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue all over the back. I actually like to glue both sides. You could also use double stick tape. I just like the way the glue dries. Holds it all together nicely. So then I'm going to glue this page too. This one is getting glued to this one. All right. So I stick them together, smooth it out. And this is the start of my dummy. It's so exciting. It's like a book now. So every time I add a page, I look at it. Because if I just like stick all the pages together and look at it all together, I may miss something. And I want to make sure that I like everything before I stick on the next page. So there's my title page. There's my acknowledgement page. I would probably clean this sketch up a little bit because it's pretty rough. And then let's turn the page to page 1, and my story starts right here. There's all my big block of text. And I played around a little bit with how this text looks. Remember, I'm not a book designer. That's a job somebody else would really do in reality. So I'm just doing my best. So don't worry if you're not a graphic designer, you don't know what fonts to use. Use something simple, make it so you can read it, and just do your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sure I make all kinds of graphic design errors that real graphic designers would be like, oh. So just do the best that you could do. I like the idea of the words kind of coming down, like the ball comes down. So there is my first spread. And now I'm going to move on to the second spread, which I've already put the words in my computer. And here is my second spread before I glue it down. You can see she's looking into the well, to the thing. And I was playing around with doing some decorative stuff around the words, if you can see that. So I'm going to fold this up again. I'm going to pick this up, close it, handy glue stick, glue, 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 glue it all together. All right, so then I'm gonna read it all over again. You're gonna get really sick of your own drawings here. So frog prince, spread 1, spread 2. My drawing's a little light there, but I wanna keep checking that I like how things work, that I like the flow from page to page, that they change from page to page. It's not all at the same angle. Where the images are changes as you go through the book. I don't want it to be static. I want it to be interesting. So I make sure that I do that as I work. And now I'm going to go to the next spread. This is my favorite spread so far. If you can see it there. Got some big blocks of text, but I was really enjoying doing sort of a close-up. And I'm going to fold this here. I'm just gonna check my gutter. I think I've done pretty well keeping stuff out of the gutter. She's a little bit close, and remember that's going to fold in when you look at a book. So that's something that as I do the final art and as I play around with stuff, I might change that a little bit just to make sure that my main character doesn't fall in the gutter. But for right now, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to get confused about which side I'm on. Okay, I'm going to put some glue on. Really just throw the glue on, put glue on the last page that I did, and stick it together. And then I'm going to, you guessed it, look at it again. So I'm just looking through the whole thing, making sure that I like the way it reads as I go. Because it changes when you can actually see, when you turn the pages. It really does change the way your story feels. I love how this page comes close in. I was pulled back for almost all the story, and now we're close in. We're looking at that frog. I liked doing that. That was fun. And then I also really liked this page turn because I have a little bit of a cliffhanger where he says, like, well, if you bring, or she says, if you will bring me my ball, I will do all that you ask. And I feel like that was a good stop, because then we know the frog's going to jump in the water. We know that if we know the story. And the next spread is the frog jumping in the water. And I'm going to, again, fold it. Make sure I'm sticking it on the right side. Glue it. All right, so I think you kind of get the idea of how this works. You just keep going until you have all your pages in there. So we come back, here's the frog prince. Go through it again. You're probably tired of seeing this. All right, and then there's this spread. And then we go to our final spread that I've done. And I know this looks a little empty, but I'm gonna make it really dark over here and really light over here, so you can tell he's really diving into the depths of the water to get the ball. So you will just keep going using your thumbnail as a guide. You'll take every spread, so I just went to here, but you'll take every spread and glue it into this packet. And once I have them all glued together, I usually take a heavier piece of paper, like a construction paper, and I take this whole thing, see here's the edge with all the edges, and I glue a cover around it. Usually use construction paper because it's bigger, so it goes all the way around, and I glue that down so the whole thing is protected by a cover. And then I always put which version of the story it is, because usually I have a couple, so if it's like my first version, I'll put Frog Prince version 1, and if I'm really on my game, I'll put like the date so I know which one it is for sure. And then what I want you to do, if you have gotten that far and you have your 40-page picture book as a dummy, I'm just going to show you the dummy I have sitting here. And it's, oh, so here's the paper I use for covers usually. It's just construction paper, and I just wrap it around like this, glue it, and trim it. But if you've got all that done, and if you have all of your pages put in a dummy, you should be so proud of yourself, because that's a lot of work. And really, you've built the blueprint. Going to final art is going to be easy peasy for you after that. I think it's important to look at it with a critical eye. Make sure that you are telling a story, and that your pictures tell a story, and that they're interesting and engaging, and that they flow from page to page. Again, if you have to change stuff at this stage, it's super easy. You can usually unstick your pages if you have to. I've done that before. Or you just print it out again and stick it together again. Because you're going to be taking these and going to final art, so you want to make sure that you're ready. And I'm going to talk next time about how you take your dummy and you make some final art. And also you want to start thinking about a cover. You know, I said I use this, but eventually you may want to do a cover. And your cover, there's some guidelines for that, because you really want it to be interesting and to capture the attention of whoever's looking at your book. So if you have done all this, again, great job. You're awesome. You should be super proud. And we will be talking about what are the next steps and how much of the book do you need to finish before you can show it to people. Well, you can show it to people when it's a dummy. They should be able to understand what's going on. That's kind of the point of a dummy. But the finished art, you don't have to finish the entire book if you want to submit it to publishers or to an agent. You only need a couple pages in color. But if you are just making your book because you love making a book, you can go ahead and do them all. So that is it for this week. I hope you had fun gluing, and I can't wait to see what you do next week as we continue on this journey of making our picture books. Have a great day.